In Chicago, you know that all sports rock. The Bears, Hawks, Bulls, Cubs, and Sox. Pick your favorite, you can choose. As long as the Packers lose. For everything you need to know, it's Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. This is your hosts Alex and Sean. On this episode, we'll be going through the trade deadline for baseball for the Cubs and the White Sox. We'll be talking Bears and a few more things. But first, I'd like to thank our sponsor, the Rockford Ice Hogs. If you're not familiar with the Rockford Ice Hogs, they're the AHL minor league affiliate of the Chicago Blackhawks. What does that mean for you? You could see the stars of tomorrow today at family-friendly, affordable prices. Season is going to be starting up in not too much longer, so make sure you head on over to icehogs.com, get yourself a hat, shirt, jersey, tickets, and more. Tell them Swerski Sports sent you. Alex, my friend, how are you doing on this beautiful Sunday afternoon?
Well, I'm doing great. Like you, I was at Bears Family Fest with a buddy today, and that was really awesome. We were sitting in the south end zone, so we got to see the Bears train, and it was really, really nice to have a weekend where it didn't feel like you were stepping out into a sauna or a furnace. Best weather we've had in a while, so I was able to enjoy that all weekend. I met up with some other friends yesterday, and yeah, it's just been really good. And also, if you can or can't hear, whether it's you or the listener, right now the August cicadas are making their mating noises. So you might be hearing that over my microphone. So for that, I apologize.
I was taking my dog for a walk the other night, and uh, one just came out of nowhere, and she's like, "Bzz," and I jumped like 10 feet, and my dog, in quick reflexes, just went whoop and swallowed it.
Ew.
I was like, oh God.
Ugh. Yuck.
Uh,
Was it last year or the year before we had the invasion?
wasn't it last year?
I think so. Because here's the thing. I love like the sound of normal year cicadas. Like what I'm hearing outside right now, I love that sound. It's like the sound of calmness to me. But boy, when you have those invasions, it is literally like a loudspeaker hurting your ears.
Yeah, because we had like the two, like the 7 year and 13 year or whatever, and they
17, 13. Yeah, it
yeah,
was
and
the
they came out this
17 year.
yeah, it came out at the same time, and honestly, it wasn't so bad by my house, but like half a mile away, it got real bad.
Come to
Um,
Elmhurst where there's trees everywhere.
yeah, it's ours that didn't because we a lot of our trees are new because we had the emerald ash borer, so they tore out a lot of the trees. They put new ones in, so I think that probably had some impact. But like the forest preserve by our house, like was just like, you would drive like a couple blocks and suddenly it would go from, very mild to just ringing.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yep, yep. So, like I said, if you hear the cicadas, I apologize. I personally like the noise, but I know everybody doesn't. And I could have gone down to the basement, but I didn't feel like it. So, sounds of late summer, right?
Yeah. And we were in the north end zone, and they kicked a field goal that went over the netting. Um and a guy caught it, and he just booked out of there because one time I was at a game in the south end zone, and they didn't put the net up in time to for the field goal attempt. And when they finally got it up, the field goal was already up, and it went right over the net as it was coming up, and a fan caught it. And unlike baseball, where they just, if you catch the ball, you catch the ball, and that's fine. They get the football back from you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because
And
one went in by the south end zone, and the ushers were saying, you got to give it back. You got to give it back.
yeah, this one the guy booked. And uh but one time I was at a game, and there was a fan caught it, and he tucked it like in his jacket, and security came running over there, and they're like, who had it? And everybody started pointing at a different person and in a different
Nah.
direction. And they're like, that guy, he went that way. And then a bunch of people just got up and started walking different directions. So they had no idea, and the guy got away with the ball. I was like, Like nice teamwork, Bears fans. Nice teamwork.
See, you know what? I have this really funny visual. The guy gets the ball, he takes off up the stairs, he goes onto the concourse, and there's George McCaskey on his scooter, and the guy trips over the scooter, just goes flying across the concourse, and the ball just lands at his feet.
George Blart, Bear security.
I didn't see George. I was looking for him. I didn't see him.
Uh, he was at Lollapalooza.
Oh my God. Could you imagine? There's all these teenagers, like all like just out in their teenage Lala garb, and there's George McCaskey with his collared shirt and Bears floppy hat, just right in the middle. Oh yeah, yeah. I sure love that Chapel Roni. George, that's not even who's playing.
Yeah. I like that Olivia Rodrigo because her album is purple, and purple is the best color there is. I bought it. I saw it at Target, and I bought it because it was purple.
Just like George McCaskey's rolling into Lala on his scooter. Hey, he's a
They're,
young man at heart. You gotta
they're
respect
like,
it.
"Sir, do you have a ticket?" And he goes, "Yes, I own the Bears." And he just scoots by.
And the security guard's like, that's not worth it.
Uh, um, so I you know, I'd hate to break up the banter, but we do have a somber thing to talk about. And that's the passing of Ryne Sandberg.
Yep.
Um, you brought up a few weeks ago, where he gave the news that, things took a turn. Um, and I know first when we heard the initial news that he had cancer, everybody was very concerned, and then going the journey with him of his treatments, and it sounded like things were in the right direction, and he was cancer free, and then it came back with a vengeance, and he went quick, and it's really sad. I mean, that's like the heyday of my baseball fandom is the Ryne Sandberg era. And it's hard not to have loved Ryno. And anybody that loves the Cubs, has a spot in their heart for Ryne Sandberg. But there's a certain era where if you live through that, you just absolutely love Ryno. I was lucky enough to meet him once. He was waiting for um, a table at Cheesecake Factory, and my friends and I had just gone in there to grab cheesecake, and I was like, "You Ryne Sandberg?" And he was just like, "Shh, keep it down." And he shook my hand. He was very nice. So I'm glad I got to meet him at least once. But it's terrible news, and I got really choked up when I heard, and when he was at the end, he reached out to Sean Dunston and Andre Dawson and Mark Grace,
Hmm.
and listening to Andre and Sean talk about Ryno, it just breaks your heart.
Yeah. We've lived through over the past, several decades, some of the deaths of some of the greatest Cubs. I remember when I was a teen when Ron Santo died. I was a junior in high school. I remember 10 years ago when Mr. Cub, Ernie Banks, died. I was in college. There was something about the passing of Ryne Sandberg that felt different. Not that the others didn't touch a lot of people, but the reaction to his passing, there was a different level of emotion there. And I think one of the reasons is kind of what you alluded to is, and Ernie Banks was a wonderful man too to the fans, but Ryne Sandberg, like they've been saying, all the fans who have met him, they've been saying almost the same thing. They use the same saying where they say never meet your heroes, but they never met Ryne Sandberg. And it was the genuine kindness that Ryne Sandberg showed to other people. He was willing to go out of his way to meet people, sign autographs, talk to them, just kind of like he was one of your average Joes. He treated people with respect. And the fact that you saw people say that same thing, never meet your heroes, but you never met Ryne Sandberg, that really stuck out. And, you know, Mr. Cub, Ernie Banks, played a long time ago. He played when my dad was a kid. And, my dad's in his mid 60s. And not saying there aren't plenty of people around from that era, but a lot more people are around who watched Ryne Sandberg. And he played really before my time. I mean, his final days in the big leagues were like when I was an infant slash toddler. So I have no recollection of him actually playing. But he was such an ambassador to the Cubs and to the community and to baseball where you felt like his presence, you felt how great he was even after he was done playing, even if you didn't see him play in person. My dad was at the Sandberg game. He was sitting up the first base line on that historic day, and I've rewatched that game many, many times. We had an old DVD of it. It's on YouTube now. They show it on Marquee. They show it on MLB Network. Bob Costas, who was calling the game, always talked about the Ryne Sandberg game. And, you felt like you watched him even though you didn't. Like you knew how great he was even though you didn't watch him in person. That was the type of impact that he had on Cubs fandom. Truly. I mean, he was one of the all-time Cub greats. And the fact that he didn't have a statue until last year, doesn't it seem a little criminal to you? Don't you think he
Oh,
should have had that statue a bit sooner?
oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he probably should have had it soon. I mean, Ernie Banks deserved the first one. Like, we can't debate that, right?
Right, absolutely.
And then, Ron Santo, Billy Williams all make sense. But first, you took too long for Ferguson Jenkins, and then you took too long for Ryne Sandberg. Ferguson Jenkins and Ryne Sandberg should have both been there much sooner, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely agree.
And then, what was first? Was it Ernie or was it Harry Carey? Ernie was the first player, obviously, but the Harry Carey statue, I remember '08 when they built the Ernie Banks statue, but Harry Carey, was that built before or was that around the same time?
I think it was around the same time, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so too. And at least with Harry Carey, he died before all those other guys, long before all those other guys. He died in 1998. So, okay, if you built a statue of him first, it's like, okay, well, he passed away. Ernie Banks got to see his. Ron Santo didn't get to see his, but Billy Williams got to see his. Then Fergie got to see his, and thank the Lord that Ryne Sandberg got to see his before he passed. So, but yeah, I mean, I still think Ryne Sandberg should have been up there years ago.
Oh, absolutely. Um, if I remember correctly, when Ryne Sandberg retired, wasn't that the day of the OJ chase, the Bronco?
Which retirement? Remember, he retired twice.
Um, I believe the second one.
Because the first time was in what, 93, 94, and then the
No,
second
it must have
time.
been the first one. It must have been the first one.
Yeah, because his last season, I believe, was 96, 97. I think it was
Yeah.
97 was his last year. Because he retired and then unretired.
Yeah, because maybe it was the day that they announced that OJ was the suspect because it was like I was at this like leadership camp thing, and it was in high school, and we only got like the end of the night, you could put on a TV at the end of the day, and the NBA finals were on, and then they had broke in with Ryne Sandberg's retirement, and then that OJ was the suspect in the murder. I was like, what is going on here?
Well, the Ford Bronco, that whole chase, that was during the finals, I know, because I've seen it where they actually minimized the finals game on the TV, and the bigger image was of the Ford Bronco chase. It's like the most watched thing ever on television. The most like watched news event ever was that O.J. Simpson chase.
I mean, it was wild. Everybody was just calling each other and be like, "Are you watching OJ right now?"
Well, could you imagine if that was today with social media?
Oh, I
Because
know.
so I have you watched the OJ documentary on Netflix by any chance?
Yeah.
So I'm in the middle of that, and we already passed the Ford Bronco chase, but what couldn't just amaze me more was, it was before cell phones, it was before Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all those platforms.
The internet wasn't even that prevalent at that point.
No, it wasn't. There really was no common internet. And yet, so many people heard this was going down that thousands of people were along the highways and along the side streets. Like, it was getting through an entire mob of people. Like, they were all informed of what was going on. People weren't texting. People weren't, tweeting at each other. They were either, like you said, calling or watching the TV, and they all went out to this highway. And it wasn't just a handful, it was thousands of people.
Yeah, just imagine if like social media existed and smartphones, how many people, how many videos of it there would be from
Oh,
every
every
angle.
angle. Yup. Yup. Heck, the people at the drones, they'd be having the drone views above the
Oh
streets.
my
And
God, that would be epic. Just the drone flying above it,
yeah.
swooping down to see OJ and the
Hey, we got smartphones and drones. Why is a 90s Ford Bronco here?
uh but we took a tangent there. Ryne Sandberg, he was phenomenal. He was a great Cub and one of those people you can't hate except if you're Joe Morgan for some reason. Um,
Well, that was false. That was blatantly made up. I don't know if you knew that, but that was completely false.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jay Mariotti made that up.
Jay Mary, I hate that guy.
He created a feud that didn't exist.
You know Jay Mariotti still works.
Yeah, I know.
Like why? Why is he still a thing?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Ryne Sandberg, like, you know, I had as a growing up, I had a handful of favorite players. Like my number one was Cal Ripken. Cal Ripken was
Mhm.
my all-time favorite. And then after that, without any ranking, were Dave Parker, who we just lost, Dave Winfield, Mark Grace, Andre Dawson, and Ryne Sandberg.
Mhm.
And uh three of them were much closer to me because I saw them play every day.
Mhm.
And they were Cubs, my team. And uh, I eh, when Harry died, I was really hurt. It sucked, but he lived a long life.
Mhm.
I mean, he lived to be older than the standard life expectancy. Lived a good life. Um,
Despite all the drinking and
that carousing and but he lived his life, and you're like, okay, everybody's gonna go at some point, and you know you you mourn him, but you understand the circle of life here. Ryne Sandberg went at like what was he, 65?
yeah, yeah. And it was the same with Ernie Banks too, with Harry Carey. Ernie Banks was in his mid 80s.
Yeah. It's you hate to see anybody pass, especially, people that you grew up idolizing or you grew up that were important to your team. Um, but like Mike Ditka is probably not long for this world. And it's going to be sad when he dies, but he's old.
Right.
You expect you brace for it. Ryne Sandberg was way too early,
Way,
and
way too early.
and that's what hurts. That hurts the most.
Right. And, it's kind of the same thing when you look at this year. We lost Ryne Sandberg to cancer. We lost Bobby Jenks to cancer. We lost Mongo to ALS. Guys who deserved to live so much longer that they did, and they contracted two of the most horrific diseases known to man. And it really is heartbreaking. And you think about other passings too in recent years. I mentioned Ron Santo. He had that horrific bout with diabetes. Um, it was well known he was sick. He had diabetes. I mean, he lost both his legs. The fact that he was able to truck on for as long as he did was so admirable. I mean, he had to go through two leg amputations, and he just continued to truck through, still call games, and, be a face of the Cubs. And I
There's a
was,
s- there's a story where he was at a golf tournament and somebody asked what his handicap was and he handed him his fake leg.
that's, that's baller.
That is the most Ron Santo thing ever. And I never want to fact check that to see how accurate it is because it's such a good story that it should just live forever.
And like you say that, and I'm like, yeah, no, that sounds like Ronnie. That absolutely sounds like Ronnie. And he was 70 years old. That's not that old, and I was very sad when he died. Um, and unfortunately, he was battling that disease for a very, very long time. And I think he had pancreatic cancer too, so he was just a very, very sick man. So that was a very hard one to swallow too. But like we had that knowledge he was sick for so long, and he kept trucking through it. With Ryne Sandberg, like it came, it got better, and then it immediately came back, and it happened relatively quickly. And I think, in my opinion, what made it such on a different level is how transparent he was about everything throughout this whole journey. Like when he was getting treatment the first round, about how optimistic he was. And he was always updating us on social media. But when that last update came, saying it without saying it, I just think that hit so many people like an anvil and a ton of bricks.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and just to hear that at the end, he wanted to surround himself with people that were really like family to him and Sean Dunston, Mark Race, Andre Dawson, two of the three of those being some of my heroes growing up. Uh, just, you just like that's a teammate there. That's a guy that, everybody loved and they they wanted to be there for him at the end and they wanted to eulogize him and they want just, everybody to understand from their what they saw of him from their perspective and it's it was like I was in the car listening to Sean Dunston and I sort of pulled off to the side of the road because I got a little emotional and I'm like I shouldn't
That
be
w-
driving like this.
that was tough to listen to. It was tough to listen to, but it was also wonderful to listen to because you hear how strong the bond is between those guys, and they basically are like family. And that just it's really special to see a bond like that. Guys who were teammates decades ago still having that type of relationship. And it goes to show how close knit that Cubs ambassador community is. And I think that type of, you know, relationship they have with each other is very aspiring to the whole community. So, it's so bittersweet hearing things like that. It was so emotional and sad, but it made you happy knowing that he spent his final times on Earth with the people he cared about. Like, and the fact that he was able to have his friends and family there for him at the end. They made him feel as comfortable and loved as possible.
Yeah, and you know, um, uh, you know, when people die that are celebrities, it seems that more and more bad things come out as soon as they die, and people going, just because they're gone doesn't mean I have to forgive them for all the awful things they did. Like, look at Hulk Hogan, um, and Ryne Sandberg. Nobody,
No.
nobody. I had White Sox friends that reached out and they were like, he was an icon in this city,
Yeah.
and um, not a bad word to be spoken.
No, that you're absolutely right. it goes back to what I said earlier about the people posting about don't meet your heroes, but you never met Ryne Sandberg. And I think one of the most emotional images of this whole time after he passed is showing like the growing and growing vigil around his statue. You know, people leave candles and hats and gloves and balls and flowers. And, you know, you see the pictures every day it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And you see number 23 on the field, and you see the 23 patches, and you saw the blue uniforms they wore the other day. And it was the night he passed away. Two of the most powerful images were one of that statue because immediately people started making their way out there and leaving flowers and all that stuff. But one of my buddies who's over with the Ball Hawks, they posted a quick video and it was of the foul pole. You know how they hang the retired numbers on the foul pole, and it was just Sandberg's sole number up there. That was it. The only thing that was flying on the foul pole was Sandberg's number, and there was a light illuminating it. And that just kind of hits you when you see that.
And it was so good to see that the Cubs, everybody wore number 23 on
Hmm.
Saturday. Like that was I didn't know they were doing that. And I turned the game on and I was like, "Oh my God. This is I like this."
Hmm. Yeah, no, it was great.
Between the Cubs wearing something to honor Ryno for the rest of the year, the Bears having the Virginia McCaskey patch and tribute to Mongo for the well, I'm sure Virginia will be for a long time, but Mongo for the whole season. Um, it's a tough year for Chicago.
I know. I know. We've lost so many big names. It sucks. And it sucks that you see these guys succumb to such horrible diseases, whether it's cancer or ALS. It's really, really sad. But, like I said before, those guys got to see themselves get immortalized in more ways than one, before they passed away. Mongo got to see himself go into the Hall of Fame. Ryne Sandberg got to see his statue unveiled. Bobby Jenks, got the final out of the World Series back in '05. So, they were able to enjoy their absolute peaks of their lives. And, it's like the line at the end of Brian's song is at the end of the day, we're not going to remember for how they died, but how they lived. And I think that's what's most important than anything.
Very true. Um, so Cubs were reasonably active the trade deadline. Um, they made a trade for Willie Castro, the utility man from the Twins. Um, gave up a couple players for him. Um, and I imagine we're going to see, I mean, he's a super utility guy, but I imagine we're going to see him a lot at third.
He played third today, and he
Yeah.
played short the other day. So you've given Shaw and Swanson days off, and he can play pretty much anywhere. That to me was far and away their best acquisition because your bench hasn't been very good. And I think some of these guys are just worn out. I think Tucker's not 100% right now. I think Seiya needs some time off. I think even PCA needs a little time
PCA
off.
looks tired.
Yeah, yeah. So, they're going to need to get some of these guys some rest. So this was a move you kind of had to make.
Yeah, I liked this move a lot. Um, I liked the Andrew Kittredge one. I think they gave up a lot for him, potentially. Uh, but I
This
think
market was absurd.
yeah, I think that was a good move. Um, the Rogers move, I don't really get that one.
He's pretty good. I mean, I don't mind that one.
I mean, like his. the ERA is okay, but he's got a 4.13 FIP, a 1.455 WHIP. Um,
That's the one thing. The walks are a little high. That's the one thing that makes you a little nervous.
he's like what, almost 35 years old. Um, but then Michael Soroka. Uh, like where's our real starting pitcher?
Well,
Where's the real starting pitcher that we were supposed to get?
so here's the thing. I think I can look at the moves they did make and say, okay, I'm fine with these. Genuinely fine with them. I know Mike Soroka was more expensive than you wanted to pay, but this market was absurd. Um, but you needed to get another starter, at least another starter. And I believe they wanted Mackenzie Gore. They were close to getting Mackenzie Gore. The Nationals wanted Matt Shaw on top of your top prospects. I understand not paying that because then you don't have a starting third baseman. But Adrian Hauser was out there. Charlie Morton was out there.
Hmm.
Merrill Kelly was out there. They might not be Mackenzie Gore. They might not be Edward Cabrera. But you needed to get at least one of those types of guys, a reliable starting pitcher that could take the ball every 5 days and go 6 innings a game. Because right now, without that move, it's going to be a lot harder to go deep in October without that, unfortunately. And
And picking up Michael Soroka, I'm not against it. Like he would to me would be a guy that could fill in as a starter while there's some injuries or somebody if they want to go to a 6-man rotation to kind of ease ease the innings up. But when everybody's healthy and you move him to the bullpen and then you add a real like a frontline starter, like a number one, number two kind of guy, maybe number three, like a more of a front end guy, and that can come in and replace Justin Steele in that rotation. Um, but that didn't happen. So then Michael Soroka looks like you're like, okay, I guess that's who we got.
Soroka can't be your biggest starting move. And unfortunately, he was your starting move. It's disappointing. It's a little aggravating. And again, I understand this market this year was beyond absurd. Because if you look, Edward Cabrera did not get traded. Sandy Alcantara did not get traded. Some of these big pitchers that we thought were going to get traded, they didn't get moved.
Mm-mm.
So that's understandable. But you really couldn't get a Charlie Morton or an Adrian Hauser or Merrill Kelly. You really couldn't get one of those guys.
The Adrian Hauser, like, what's Tampa's end game there?
It's Tampa. I don't know. They do weird things and they make it work.
I don't know, but that seemed like a no brainer.
Yeah, it did.
Um,
I begged for Charlie Morton.
yeah,
I thought Charlie Morton would have been a good investment.
where did he go? Tigers?
Tigers.
Yeah. Um, so I'm a little baffled here, and I just like I don't see these moves at putting you over the top to to be a World Series contender, and then if you add on top of this, if Tucker leaves in free agency, it's going to be tough pill to swallow that you didn't go all in.
If there's a bright side, if Tucker leaves and Owen Casey is the guy who is advertised, at least you still have him.
Yeah, I don't think I would have traded him for any package really, unless it was something like, uh, you know, uh, if Pittsburgh went crazy and traded their top pitcher. Like, okay, all right, I could throw in that somebody that was controllable and just an absolute stud.
You mean if the
Okay,
Cubs could get Paul Skeens? Yes, you would trade almost anything for Paul Skeens.
yeah, but I'm not trading for Owen Casey for a rental.
No, not a rental. I mean, Mackenzie Gore would have been justifiable because he has years of control. But again,
Yeah.
if they're asking for Matt Shaw too, you can't really do that because you didn't get any Eugenio Suarez.
That was a good pickup by Seattle.
I wanted that bat, and I Shaw's been playing a hell lot better recently. And let's face it, Shaw is a much better fielder than Eugenio Suarez. But man, a guy that is on pace to hit 45, 50 home runs this year, wouldn't you like that in your lineup?
Yeah.
Then you make do. I mean, this has been suggested, and I'm one of the bigger Hap defenders, but he hasn't had a super good season. And if you were to get Suarez and you put him at DH and you put Say in left, and Hap was kind of your platoon defensive pinch hitter, play certain situations type of guy, then maybe I think you could make that work because one, Shaw is playing better, and two, that glove is really, really good. Now, if this was a few weeks ago, then I would have said, okay, you get Suarez, you put him at third, Shaw, you go back to the minors and develop. But Shaw, knock on wood, looking a hell lot better. And boy, is that glove good. So kind of
Yeah. And
sucks they lost out on that one. But Willie Castro was the next guy I wanted, and they got him. So
yeah, I don't hate any of the moves. They didn't make the big move.
no, look at San Diego. Look at all the moves they made.
Yep.
Dude, like San Diego, they're now a legit World Series team with those additions. Like right now, I think they are better than the Dodgers. We'll see what happens come October when the Dodgers get healthier. But right now, if you would have said right now a 5 game series starts tomorrow night, my money is on the Padres in that one.
Probably. Yeah, the Giants, I think, are they made their move too early, and I think they're dead in the water.
Yeah, that team was never that good. I think they were playing way over their heads earlier in the season.
Yeah, that rest of that division just fell back. I mean, Colorado's terrible, but the Diamondbacks have really faded. The Giants have really faded. That's a two-team race there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
uh, yeah, the Phillies look pretty good. They made a good move. Um,
Yohan Duran, that's who I wanted as a closer.
yeah. Um, the Mets are right there with them, but the rest of that division's terrible.
Hey, you know what though? Have you seen the Marlins lately? They're at 500 now.
Yeah, they won what, four, five, six in a row.
They've been on a tear the past month or so.
I just
Not
think it's
saying,
too little late, too little
oh
too late.
no, oh no, I'm not saying they're going to make the postseason, but give them credit. They were on pace to be maybe the third worst team in baseball, and now they're 500.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, you can't be mad about it. I mean, they are playing well. It's just, we're at the point of the season when, uh, we, barring something crazy happening, we sort of know who the teams are, and now it's just jockeying how hot they're going to be in coming in towards the end of the season.
Yeah, there's maybe a fringe team here or there. Um, One of those fringe teams is who's going to be coming to Wrigley Field tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean, Cincinnati, the problem is Cincinnati is really good. Um, but I think they think they had a turn a little too late to that corner. The teams that they're trying to chase down for the wild card are good. San Diego, good. Mets, good. Cubs or Milwaukee, whoever doesn't win the division, good. Cincinnati is Cincinnati is a pretty good team, and they're getting better. Um, it's just, I think, I think they're on the outside looking in, but they're they're a strong team looking in.
It's, looking ahead at this next series with them, you're always like, what Reds team are you going to face? Are you going to face the Reds team that looks like a contender or the one that looks like a complete pretender? They are the most Jekyll and Hyde team I've ever seen. They really are.
Yeah. Um, but I mean, I think everybody else is dead in the water. Cincinnati's the only one outside of a playoff spot that's, could be looking in.
I agree. Yeah, I don't think
And
the Giants are going to make a run. The Marlins,
no,
they've been amazing, but they're not going to go all the way there. At least I don't think.
St. Louis and Arizona are, they're not the team.
St. Louis waved the white flag. They didn't trade Arenado, but they did trade their closer, and they made a few other moves. So they've pretty much given up. Obviously Cardinals, Devil Magic, yada yada, but yeah, they're probably not going to happen. Knock on wood.
Pittsburgh has been playing good baseball. It's just they
Well,
were such a big hole.
yeah. Although, did you see that game Friday night or hear about it?
No.
When they lost 17-16 to the Rockies.
Oh, I saw the score. I saw the score.
They were
That
up
would have been
nine
a
to
fun
nothing in
game
the
to
first. Yeah.
American League though, that's a different story. There's a lot of teams alive. I mean, I think Kansas City's not that far out, but I think they waved the white flag.
I don't think they have the horses to make a run.
No. But I mean it's gonna be tough because I think so Seattle's the last wild card team and they made some good moves.
Yep.
I think it's gonna be tough. The Yankees better get healthy because I could see them falling out of it.
That team has been pretty bad lately. And not only are they not playing well, they are fundamentally very unsound.
I could see them. I mean, it's going to be Texas or Cleveland that chases them down if somebody does.
Cleveland's not even that good.
No, they're not. Texas should have been better. Um, but neither one of those teams is like lighting it on fire. Um, I mean, at least Texas is a plus 66 in run differential. Cleveland is a minus 28.
And that lineup outside of Jose Ramirez and Stephen Kwan just isn't good.
Um, so man,
And you know what's funny is remember 4th of July or right before the 4th of July when Cleveland came to town and we swept them?
yeah.
Well, and it's funny because I look at them, I'm like, this was a franchise that last year came within what, 2 wins of going to the World Series?
Hmm.
And I look at that lineup, I'm like, yeesh. It stinks now. And, they used to be known for having the great pitching and developing the great pitching. Think of all the guys they've gone through there, going back to when we faced some of the World Series when they had, Corey Kluber and Carlos Carrasco. And then, later on they had Shane Bieber. And, before he was a piece of crap and when he could actually pitch, a young Mike Clevenger. They were always able to figure that out. And then you lose your closer because he was gambling or suspected of it. You hear about that with Emmanuel
Oh,
Clase
yeah, that's bad.
and
It's a,
several
it
other
is,
players.
yeah. But, um, but going back to the National League, the Reds as good as they're playing. The Cubs are what, 7.5 games up on them, something like that.
Well, if you want to make that bigger, then you got to win some games over the next 3 days.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's a good slash bad time to be playing. If you win, great. You sort of,
Bury
stomp some of
them,
their, yeah, you kill their chances. Um,
but don't give them life because if you give that team life, we've seen Terry Francona work some magic before.
absolutely.
And they got some pieces. I mean, Ellie De La Cruz is very good. They're pitching like Nick Lodolo is. You're gonna have to face two of their top pitchers. You're gonna have to face Lodolo and Abbott over this next homestand. And then you have other guys too who, when they're healthy, are very effective. It's last year they were so riddled with injuries. So just don't give them a chance to think they have a chance. If you win two or three, you feel better. If you lose two or three, or God forbid, get swept, then all of a sudden they're right back in it. But again, the Reds could come in and kick our asses, or we can beat theirs. You never know what you're going to get from that team.
We do know what we're getting from the Brewers, and it's
Yeah.
driving me crazy because they are just kicking the shit out of everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, just kicking the shit. Their pitching has been really good. Their hitting is just on fire. Like over the last several weeks, when they've been on this crazy run, their run differential has just been ridiculous. And they didn't beat nobody's. They kicked the shit out of the Cubs and the Dodgers, and they just everybody's ass they've just given a good stern kicking to.
It's insane. Watching those games against the Cubs, everything they hit just finds grass. Everything finds a hole. Everything finds grass. They just always hit them where you aren't.
I can't wait for them to flop in the playoffs.
Mm,
That's me being a hater.
yeah, man, everything they do just works, and they do everything so well. Um, you know, we salvaged that last game of that series with the big win, but it was really, really, really aggravating game one when you're facing Miz and you're thinking, okay, this is going to be a tough one. He might not go deep, but he's dominant. And they get 3 runs off him.
Yeah.
And you think, you have a 3-run lead. You have your best pitcher, Matt Boyd, on the mound. You're feeling pretty good. And then Matt Boyd has his worst start of the season. And
Hmm.
Matt Boyd's been amazing. And he just had that one bad outing
Yep.
in Milwaukee. And that was the night Ryne Sandberg died. It turned into a blowout. And then the next day, Colin Ray kept you in it for a few innings, and then boom, blowout. And that's when Craig Counsell's like, all right, you know, Chris Flexen, thank you for your service. That's, that Linsanity runs over. Ryan Presley, you're done. Goodbye. And the last thing I got to say about the Brewers, you know what I'm going with this, right?
Go for it.
Andrew effing Vaughn.
Hmm.
He's suddenly Barry Bonds. And I said, yep, all that shit you and I talked about how Andrew Vaughn's been playing the past year, it's here he is. Here he is hitting like a fourth overall pick. All it took him was a few months in the Brewers organization, and he's hitting like Barry effing Bonds. That's all it took for them to unlock him.
Yeah.
They
That was
just pick up
frustrating.
shit and turn them into gold every time.
Yep. It's frustrating. And after that series, you're like, I think most Cubs fans were feeling pretty down, even though we salvaged that last game and basically only lost one, game to the Brewers.
Salvaging that last game was a bit of a relief because, like you said, it's like, okay, worst at worst you lost the game. That's not horrible.
Yeah. And then you win that first game against the Orioles. You're okay. We're back to that second game in the Orioles series sucked. That one sucked.
That was deflating.
Yeah.
And
You should have swept the Orioles.
you should have swept the Orioles. And I was driving back. I was hanging out with a friend out in Wheaton. I was driving back when that eighth inning started. And when that home run happened, the tone in Pat Hughes's voice, I've heard him call a lot of crappy losses and bad games and whatnot, but he was like, that was just stunning. And you heard in his voice just like oh, like that was really a kick to the balls.
Hmm. That sucked because, you know, like we're probably what, one game out if we win that.
Yes.
We're right there with the Brewers, and we're feeling good because we're on a 4-game winning streak going against the Reds, and you still won this series, which was important.
Thank you, Justin Turner.
Yeah, but man, it it was way too close against a bad Orioles team, and should have been a
Well,
sweep.
an Orioles team that just sold.
Yeah.
And the offense this series was just bad.
hmm
And I know it happens, but
I mean, the what was it today in like the fifth or something? You had Saya and Tucker get on. You have two men on, no outs, and you don't even get anybody to third.
they squandered it. Yep. Yep.
I
Yep.
think that's so tough.
Well, and coming into this game, Kyle Tucker's been struggling, and I think it's because he's hurt. I think he's clearly not 100%. He's banged up. Seiya, over the past month, has been really struggling. Really, really struggling. And Ian Happ has been really, really struggling. Dansby Swanson has just been very meh. I mean, the ones hitting right now are basically the bottom. Like Nico Horner's the one that's been hitting most consistently, and Matt Shaw. Those are the
hmm
guys who've been hitting.
The PCA has been struggling.
Yeah, this weekend was rough. He actually had a pretty good week last week, all things considered, but these past few games were really bad.
Like, that first out he made in that when they had runners on first and second, just he swung on a that pitch that was so outside.
Yeah,
Like he
yeah.
got fooled. Um,
Well, even yesterday, he was the final out, and he
he just
missed
looks
two cookies.
he just looks tired.
I don't disagree.
So I'm hoping the reinforcements come in, have a renewed sense of energy facing the Reds, and you can start playing some better baseball.
Yeah, yeah. Um, it's gonna be a dogfight, man. And I just hope they have the pitching horses to get through it, because this is tough. This is really, really tough when you didn't, I like the two bullpen moves you made. Um, Palencia's looked mortal these past few outings, but hopefully that's just a little blip. He's not going to be perfect every single time. He was due to give up something. Um, so hopefully that's just a little blip there. You trimmed some of the fat. Presley, I tried to defend the guy, but yeah, he's toast. He's done. Flexen, he had his moment, and then that regressed hard. Vidal Brujan, you DFA'd. You're gonna get Miguel Amaya back. That's kind of
Yeah.
nice. Jameson Tyone had a rehab start. It was awful, but to be fair, rehab starts really aren't as much about the performance than just them getting back into a routine. So I'm not going to put too much stock into that. Maybe you'll finally get Javier Assad back at some point. And these aren't guys that are going to be your number one starter, carry you, but it'd just be nice to eat some innings.
Yep. I will tell you this though. If you go to Fangraphs, their postseason probabilities, the Cubs they have as a 97.5% to make the playoffs, 46.7% to win the division, and a higher percentage to win the World Series than the Brewers.
Hmm.
7 to 5.8.
Hmm.
So, I mean, mathematically, unless the Cubs collapse, they should make the postseason. It would be nice to win the division, but um,
Division doesn't always win you the World Series.
no, it doesn't. And the Brewers are going to be tough to chase down.
I mean,
They have to cool down at some point, though.
they
They
have
have to.
to.
It's like mathematically impossible to keep playing the level of baseball they're playing.
I, that fucking Andrew Vaughn's gonna have to go through a slump again at some point, right?
Oh yeah, he's gonna remember that he's a 500 OPS guy.
It's so annoying. Just a bunch of little runts. just slapping the ball.
Let's go to the other side of town. White Sox. They uh they didn't make nearly as many moves as I was expecting.
They kept
Uh
Luis Robert.
yeah, that was surprising. I think a lot of people were surprised by that.
I just wonder if the White Sox were looking for a certain return that they just weren't getting.
I heard that they were looking for a pretty sizable return.
Yeah. And teams are like, listen, because I think there was genuinely a lot of interest around the league, wouldn't you say, based on what we've
Oh
heard?
yeah, I mean the guy's a five tool guy. I think everybody was thinking that they bring him in, that he's gonna just a change of scenery and playing in the middle of a better lineup is gonna be good for him. And
Right.
I think the Mets were definitely interested. There were several teams that were interested in. They just they wanted a big return. They wanted the return based on his potential, not who he's been.
Right. Now, with that said, teams wanted to bring him in, but they weren't willing to pay the premium price of somebody who is playing at their top prime right now.
Right. So they kept him and they picked up that $20 million option. And I think their hope is that he plays really well the rest of the season. They can flip him in the offseason.
Hmm.
Um,
And
you
he's
know,
playing a lot better.
he is, but I mean, at some point, if he doesn't play way better and for the rest of the season, I don't think they're going to get the return that they want either. And then they might just keep him and try to flip him again next July. And at that point, I think people are going to really, really question that. And I wonder if this is going to work out in the White Sox favor.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. In
Um,
addition to Luis Robert, are you surprised or not surprised they didn't move Mike Talkman? Because I thought Mike Talkman would be in high demand for, a bench utility role for a lot of teams.
I I would have put money down that the Cubs would have gotten Hauser and Talkman.
Hmm. Well, did you hear the rumor that Jed and Chris Getz almost had a deal for Hauser?
No,
Yeah, according to Bruce Levine, said that they were close and it just didn't materialize fully.
that's a bummer.
It is a bummer.
I'm yeah. There's you know Austin Slater got traded.
Yep.
I was shocked. Who wants Austin Slater?
Right. Right.
Um, Apparently the Yankees. But yeah, I mean they weren't nearly as active as I would have expected.
I just wonder if they looked at Mike Talkman. They're like, hey, he's a valuable leader for a lot of these guys on this club. And right now, the young kids are looking pretty darn good. Colson Montgomery is on a tear. And maybe, I know he's a shortstop and Talkman's an outfielder, but maybe that veteran presence is good for those guys. I don't know.
Maybe he requested to not be traded. I
Could be.
mean, I know they don't have to honor that, but he's a Chicagoland native. Maybe he's just like, you know what? I'm at the end of my career. I came here. I want to be in the Chicagoland area, either with Cubs or Sox, and asked not to be traded. And if the White Sox weren't blown away by anything, they were just like, you know what? We'll keep him.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. But I thought that just like that to me was a player that would seem to be like in high demand.
Yeah, you would think so. And there weren't a lot of rumors about him.
No, there was almost nothing.
It was dry.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm not surprised anybody from their bullpen didn't get traded because that bullpen is not good.
yeah. And the return on Hauser, I think it was a little underwhelming.
That's kind of what I thought too. Considering what some of these other teams got for other pitchers. Now I know Hauser came in kind of late, into the season, but with the way this market was, I thought it would be a little higher too.
Like, I mean, I think Curtis Mead is going to be a major league player. It seems like out of a lot of the trade pieces that went, he seems like a sure thing to make because to make the team. I believe he's been up and down quite a bit, if I'm not
Hmm.
mistaken. But I don't think the ceiling's that high.
Right.
I think he's going to be like an average MLB player, and maybe to them that's worth it. Like sure thing. Maybe they feel that they give him another 100 to 200 at bats, they could fix him. Um, I don't know, but he's right there and knocking on the door. Um, so he'll probably get a lot more playing time with the White Sox. Um, we'll see.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was a little bit surprised that they didn't make more moves. I figured they would get rid of anything that wasn't nailed down, but they've been playing good baseball. I mean,
Hmm.
two they two series this week. The Phillies are a really, really good team, and the Angels are a not a bad team. They've been playing a lot better, and the White Sox won both series.
Yep. And boy, Colson Montgomery is on a tear, like I said.
He looks good.
A few months ago, he was sent down to the developmental league, and now he's crushing bombs in the big leagues. Hey, maybe that does work.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
not at the death sentence we thought it was.
I think most people, including us, had written him out of the future plans of the White Sox, and
Yeah.
now he is just roaring back and making us all eat our words.
Yeah.
Um, so I think, as most people know, my wife is from Philadelphia area, and she's a Phillies fan. And I told her that the Phillies were in town, and she's like, "Oh, they're playing the Cubs," and I was like, "No, they're playing the White Sox," and she's like, "Let's go." Like, I haven't been to Comiskey in a long time. I realized I didn't think it was that long, but I was like, man, it's been a minute. And so we went to game two of that series, the one the Phillies won. And I don't know, other than the area around it, like that stadium is fine. I don't know why you need a new stadium. Sure, you could do some upgrades to it, but like I will tell you, the food is top notch.
The food, yeah, their food is top notch. Sometimes I like going to Sox games just so I can enjoy either some Irish nachos or some brats with the grilled onions on top and the fries and yeah, I mean their food selection really is elite. It's like
Have
almost like going to a restaurant.
Yeah, the food was, I mean, when you go to Cubs game, it's ballpark food.
Yeah,
It
it's very bare bones standard.
the
Yeah,
the Cubs need to step up their food game.
they really do.
Those milkshakes. Oh, have you had those?
I have not. Did you try them?
So, my wife and daughter, they were going, I don't know where they went. I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get the milkshakes. And they were like, they both wanted the campfire milkshake. I got the birthday cake one. So $60 of milkshakes later, because they're like 20 bucks a pop. Um, I come back and all three of us were blown away how good they were.
Yeah.
That was one of the best milkshakes I've ever had.
And I love birthday cake flavored things and birthday cake, so I'd probably love it too. Would
It
my
was,
innards love it? Maybe not, but I would love the taste.
yeah, my guts were bubbling after that. It was
God.
a little too much dairy, but man, did it taste good.
Your gut sounded like the Marty Havlat crock pot.
But yeah, man, that was a good milkshake. And our seats were really good. We were right along the right field foul pole. Um, we were about 20 feet away from where Schwarber hit that bomb and that went into the tequila restaurant.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Isn't that
Like,
where the Goose Island Goose used to be up there somewhere?
I don't know. I mean, because I was probably there and gone by the time I'd been there last.
Yeah, it wasn't there long. It was only there
Uh,
maybe a year or two. I don't
yeah,
know
but
exactly how long, but
it was a missile. I thought it was going to kill somebody because it went right through that window and into the crowd of people. I was like, wow, none of those people were ready for it.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was a good time. I told my wife, I was like, I would happily go back. I would
No, I
happily go
enjoy the
back.
experience there. It's genuinely a good time going to those games. like you said, the stadium, the only complaint I have about the stadium is I feel like once you get to the upper deck, you feel like you're really far up from the action. That's really my only complaint, but everything else, like in terms of the amenities and everything, it's really, really nice.
We sat in like the lower level because I told my host like, should I buy tickets in advance? I was like, why pay a Ticketmaster fees? We'll just really go right up to the stadium and buy the tickets.
Right.
And I'm like, they're not going to sell out. And it was actually a pretty packed crowd because there was a lot of Phillies fans there.
Yeah.
Um, but we bought really good seats right then and there. I think it was like $80 for 3 seats in good seats. Um, I think in hindsight, we would have moved over so we could have got a home run or a foul ball, where we were. Um, the net would have probably prevented us from getting even like those those you know ones that were just missing a home run. I think the net would have got him. So like that was the only bummer, but it was a good time. The one complaint I had is there's so much no parking. Like of the radius of no parking during ball games sucked.
Yeah.
And so they basically are forcing you into a lot. And it was a pain in the ass to get into the lot. And it was like $30. And like I don't pay at Wrigley. I have a secret spot that I like to use that's free parking.
Oh yeah, I park on the side streets when I go to Wrigley. I never
Yeah.
pay for parking there.
Yeah. And it makes it easier to get out because I'm not waiting and stuck in traffic. Um, so I think I gotta find where secret parking is around because of the I was like, oh, we could just take the L. We're in the city. But man, the red line station was packed after the game. Uh, so I would gladly go again. I think I would just need to plan a little better.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, let's wrap this up talking a little Bears.
Hmm.
So today was Family Fest. Um, and so the first padded practice at Soldier Field. And did you get the roster sheet at the game?
I did, yes.
So my wife grabbed, she's like, I stayed in line with my daughter and my niece. Um, and I was like, oh, I'll stay with them. We were gonna do some of the interactive things for the kids. And I was like, I'll stay in line with them. She's like, oh, I'll grab the the roster sheets. She brings it back and I look at it quick and I'm like, that's weird. I was like, um, why? Like, why do they have number 35 front and center on the guide? And I'm like, where's Caleb Williams? Where's Roma Dunze? Where's DJ Moore? Where's Montez Sweat? Where's Jalen Johnson? And I was like, oh wait, these are all the rookies. Like, I'm like, that's an interesting choice. And to put, to be honest with you, there are two number 35s on the Bears. So I don't
Yep.
know if that's Major Burns or Deion Hankins. Um, but why wouldn't you put Luther Burden in the middle or a Colson Loveland?
Hey, Luther Burden was wearing those bright green shoes today, so that
Oh,
made
I
it easier
know.
to
I
see.
love he looks good.
He's had a good camp so far. He definitely has.
He looks like like he can play football. Like he's bigger than I was expecting for the kind of quickness and speed that he has. Now that he's come back from that injury, he's just looking good.
Yeah, I mean, you've heard good things about the practices at Hallis Hall. We saw him in action today at Family Fest. The other rookie that I thought stood out today was Kyle Monungai. They gave him a lot of touches.
They really did. Um, and then that one touchdown, he was the lead blocker for Cole Kmet on that
Hmm.
screen pass, and they didn't need it because it was the two of them just ran in with nobody touching.
They're wide open. Nobody was even around him.
But yeah, I mean, I think they have high hopes on Kyle Monungai. Um,
Ben Johnson sure likes to talk about him.
I mean, it, you know, I'm not gonna count out. I mean, the Chiefs have been have had a seventh round running back for the last several years, and he's played really well
From
from the same
stupid
school.
Rutgers.
Yeah, from stupid Rutgers. Um, but I like Zoff Frazier was getting some playing times. A lot of these rookies are getting playing time.
Ozzy
And
Drapillo,
yeah,
he's in
Ozzie
there.
Tripill. Uh,
hmm
don't be surprised if he wins that job.
I think it's his to lose, frankly. I mean, technically you should always say like, oh, Braxton Jones, the veteran, but you see him in there with that first team and it's noticeable. I think Ben Johnson is very, very high on Ozzy Trapillo.
Yeah, Luke Newman was playing with the twos at center.
hmm
He might come in there and displace the other guys. For the depth, coming out of Michigan State, uh, and Ruben Hippolyte, they are very high on him.
hmm Gonna be your starting strong side linebacker?
Um, so I've been, I think they're very happy with some of these young players. Uh,
So, um, let me ask you another question. Do you think JP Richardson is going to be a thing?
uh, I don't think so. Maybe I could be wrong. I mean, it just is. I Will he make the practice squad? Probably, but they've got they're pretty deep at wide receiver.
They are, because I think Devin Duvernay, um, I think he's got special teams potential there.
Yeah, he does. I think he's gonna be the return man.
hmm
Probably both kick and punt.
Yep.
Um, and Zacchaeus is a guy with a veteran you brought in. You've got Burden is a second round pick, and you've got your two studs in Adunze and DJ Moore. So that's five. You're probably only keeping six. Um,
So, if you were to maybe guess right now, how would you think that this sounds reasonable? DJ Moore, Roma
mhm.
Dunze, Luther Burden, Olamide Zacchaeus, Devin Duvernay, and maybe Maurice Alexander? Because I feel like Tyler Scott has an uphill battle right now.
On draft night, I was like, man, if he makes this, it's going to be the number six. I don't think he's making this roster. I really don't. Um, I mean, I'm looking at this like, all right, so DJ Moore ahead of him, Duvernay ahead of him, Zacchaeus ahead of him, Roma Dunze ahead of him. Um, uh,
Devin Duvernay.
yeah. You brought in Samari Tori as a free agent. Um, so it's an uphill batter for him. He's gonna have to play his ass off.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, we'll see how that goes. The other thing that I wanted to point out too was we saw Ian Wheeler back in action.
Yeah, I think that's good. It gives you options. I don't know if he'll make the roster, but it gives you options.
Yeah, I mean, because right now it's Swift 1, Roshan 2, Monangai 3, Travis Homer 4. And Travis Homer is kind of your veteran blocking type dude. So I don't know, you know, I think Ian Wheeler is a higher upside, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Um, and then you start looking at um the defensive backs and Jalen Johnson. That injury doesn't sound good.
No,
They're
no, it doesn't.
talking that there's a scenario where he's back for week one, which makes me seem like he's not going to be back for week one.
Ugh.
I will say, I will say though, Terrell Smith has looked real good.
Hmm.
That he is playing for that other corner spot.
Yeah. So, you'll never ever, or I should say, rarely hear me use Excel on a weekend not at work, but I used Excel this weekend to start to put together my Bears depth chart. So I've been kind of trying to mix and match here. Um, so, I mean, you look at left cornerback, if you don't have Jalen Johnson, your other options, you mentioned Smith, Za Frazier. They signed Trey Flowers, but it'll probably be right cornerback, right?
Yeah. I mean, you still got Tyreek Stevenson.
Yeah, I mean, I have Tyreek Stevens as my number one right cornerback. And then
Yeah. So,
obviously Kyler Gordon is your nickel.
yeah, and that's a lock. But I'm gonna be honest. The offense has not looked great at all. For the most part in training camp, they've had their
No,
moments. I think today was the first time in the second half or whatever the second half of the scrimmage today started to look good.
the
Um,
2 minute drills looked much better.
yeah, but I think the defense looks pretty darn good.
They are aggressive, man. And how many times did we see today those guys just were locked up? Like they were
Yeah,
all over. All and listen, you're calling very vanilla plays today. We know that. But man, they were out there really playing with just a lot of energy. Like I said, they had those guys locked up. And the other thing, too, that I couldn't help but notice, and sure, some of this might be drawn up, some of it might not be, they had a lot of pressure on whoever was under center.
they did. I mean, it's been the whole camp. Um, and it's not been one guy or it has been consistent. They have been getting pressure.
Hmm.
And uh so I it'll be interesting to see how they look when the preseason opens up because is it really the Bears are offense is that far behind or is the defense sneaky good? You
I mean,
hear I mean defense if you look at the roster of players, they've that defensive backfield and that linebacking core is good.
hmm
With those starting safeties in Brisker and Byard, they're good.
hmm
If he's healthy, Montez Sweat is real good.
hmm
If he's healthy, which he has been, Big Bill is real good. Um, you know,
Gervon Dexter.
is real good. It's just that other uh edge rusher spot. But if this you listen to these defenders talking, and they seem to love this new system.
Hmm. They like the aggressiveness.
The aggressiveness and uh how they're able to play downhill football.
Hmm.
If they are playing good football, could it be a skewed thing where the offense is going to take time to figure things out with a whole new offensive line, whole new scheme, second year quarterback who is essentially a rookie because he played under dog shit situation last year. Um, and going against a really good veteran defense. Like that could just really skew things. I'm not trying to make excuses. I don't know. But we did see some good things from the offense in the second half today.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the 2 minute drill, that looked pretty good. We talked about Luther Burden. You saw a little bit of Colson Loveland in there. You saw the touchdown with Cole Kmet. And you saw Caleb Williams, had his ups and downs, but he had a few nice dump offs, a few to Swift, a few others to DJ Moore here and there. And
Nice touchdown pass to um was it Loveland?
yes.
I mean, so the one thing I will say is I want to see Caleb use the middle of the field more.
I agree. A lot of early on was off to the side. It was the short passes, and maybe some of that is by design. But I even said, I'm like, let's see a little bit more up the middle.
I mean, Case Keenum seemed to be the one that was willing to throw into the middle.
Uh-huh.
Um, but he's also the veteran. He knows the speed of the game.
Right.
Even if he doesn't fully grasp the offense and his like new teammates, like he knows the speed of the game.
He's been playing what, almost 10 years, around 10 years in this league.
He's been in for a minute.
He's played in playoff games. He's been in pretty much every scenario outside of a Super Bowl as a starter, but he's been around. He knows it.
I don't think he's going to beat out uh Tyson Bagent though.
No, although Tyson Bagent had a few,
He did, he did.
like the
But
one pass that got picked off, and then the other pass where he was in the end zone. He made a nice play to get away. I don't remember who he had wide open, but he had somebody wide open, and he just airmailed it over his head.
I I think he's going to win out. I think you're going to see Case Keenum be almost that player coach,
Hmm.
um, where he's in the meetings and he's the emergency guy. And I wouldn't even be shocked if, God forbid, Caleb goes down, if they just leapfrogged Case Keenum to start and Bagent back him up. But they're gonna give Bagent those backup snaps
I agree. I agree.
because you're trying to develop two quarterbacks. Case Keenum doesn't need the development. He just needs to learn the playbook.
Right.
He is who he is. He's there. He's never gonna be. He's hit his ceiling. And that's not saying a bad thing. That's just, he knows this league and we know who he is. And he's a one, like he's either a really good backup or a really low end starter.
Right. Hey, he threw the Minneapolis Miracle.
Yeah. And there's a long, healthy, profitable role for that type of guy. He
Oh,
can play
yeah.
for a long
Backups make a
time.
ton of money.
Yeah. So he could come in with minimal snaps and be able to run this offense after, by the time the season starts. Bagent, I think you're developing because I think Ben Johnson wants to see who he is. Because if, they think he's going to be good, yeah, they want to groom him. Maybe you could even flip him for like a good draft pick, in this situation, but or just groom him to be your long-term backup guy. Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
so I would be shocked at that. But I mean, the defense looked good. The offense looked real sloppy early on.
Penalties. And that's something that Ben Johnson mentioned after the scrimmage.
Yeah, he was not happy about it.
No, and upfront about it too. Didn't sugarcoat it.
No, I'm happy. I'm glad is, you don't have to beat players up about things in public, but you also don't have to sugarcoat it either. These are grown-ups. They know when they've played bad.
And these are fundamental basics. Because you had some delayed games, you had some holdings, and that you don't want to see that be a regular thing like we've seen it. And one thing that we want to mention too is it's hard to change the DNA of players with 2 weeks of camp, right? So you can't expect this to be all changed and better with the snap of a finger. It is a process. And some of this process is going to go forward through the season. There's going to be guys trying to learn this stuff. So it's good that it's out there. Ben Johnson is dealing with it the best way he can. And I think it's much better than we've seen in years past. But yeah, I guess my whole point is here, don't be surprised that there are struggles because you don't just bring in a coach and automatically everything's better. It is a work in progress with a lot of this.
Yeah, you've got to change the culture of the existing players and introduce new players into it, and churn out ones that are are not, who you want. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's a process, and the sooner players buy in, the quicker that happens.
Hmm.
And we're 1 week away from the first preseason game.
I know
Oh,
because they play what, the Dolphins to start?
Dolphins, yeah. And so, the preseason's coming up on us real quick,
Yep.
real quick. Uh, so, um, I know that Ben Johnson has talked about how every practice, you're seeing them learn more and take in more. Um, but I have a feeling we're not going to see what this Bears offense really looks like until probably early October at the earliest.
Sure.
We'll see flashes here and there, but those early games like the Vikings and the Lions and the Cowboys and the Raiders, it's going to be hit or miss.
Yep.
Um, it might that bye week might be when that stuff starts to click.
Sure.
Um, it would sure be nice to come out of that and kick the shit out of the Commanders,
Yeah, that would
return that
be.
favor.
We need we need we need revenge somehow, some way.
But um, I just don't want to see embarrassment. If they're not great, that's fine. I don't need them to be the fine-tuned, well-oiled machine that's just cranking out 45 points a game. I just want to see, a
Functioning offense?
yes, a functioning offense.
That's so much to ask.
Like I just want to be able to see them put a drive together and not just go six straight three and out drives or
Yeah.
or be, every third down be third and 12 plus.
Which again, we early on in this practice we saw a lot of.
Yeah, but we haven't it hasn't been that bad in other, you know, training camp practices. It was a bad day today. The
Hmm.
first half. Um let's see. Not Bears related directly, but a lot of stories coming out. The Micah Parsons situation.
I
Micah
think he'll
Parsons,
resign.
I would say 98% he's going to resign. But
Hmm.
he's demanded a trade, and people are like, "Oh, the Bears, the Bears." The Ryan Poles is not Ryan Pace. Ryan Poles is not going to trade multiple first round picks and sign him to a $50 million contract. And would Micah Parsons be awesome to have on this team? Yes.
Oh God, it would be a dream.
Like this defense could possibly be the number one defense in football if you added a healthy Micah Parsons.
Hmm.
But
Sweat and Parsons on each end. Can you imagine
yeah,
that?
just those quarterbacks are gonna be
Shitting their britches.
yes. Like Jordan Love is gonna sew a poop pocket into his pantaloons. Um
Just can we just extract that sentence? Sewing a poop pocket in his pantaloons.
uh yeah, so um it's it's one of those things is like that's a pipe dream. It's not gonna happen.
Damn. No more poop pockets and pantaloons.
No poop pockets and pantaloons. I I don't see it. I don't see it happening. And I don't see the Bears making that big trade. I don't see the Cowboys trading him, period. Uh, and really it's gonna be he resigns and they're gonna overpay him because they waited too long to pay him.
At the end of the day, he wins. He'll get more money.
Oh yeah. I mean, He was trying to sign early before these other guys, and had the Cowboys not been dumb and just paid him, they would have saved a lot more money. But now he's just like, no, I'm gonna get the market value.
That's Jerry Jones.
Jerry's so stupid. He's such a bad GM.
And just not very likable.
No, not at all.
George might not be a football man, but he seems like a genuinely good guy who his employees like as a person.
Other than Olin Kreutz, who's ever had a bad thing to say about George as a person?
I can't really think of it because I remember 2 years ago when the Bears blew that game in Detroit. It was Martellus Bennett tweeted about it, and he tweeted about all the problems with the organization. But like he said, like, yes, listen, the McCaskies, we like them personally. They treat us very good. The city's great. It's just kind of what we say. They may mean well, they may be good to their employees, but they just don't know how to run a team.
And the thing is, if Martellus Bennett doesn't have something bad to say about you, then you must be a really good person, because that guy would talk shit on Mother Teresa. Like he's a shit talker. Like that's what he does.
Yeah, no,
And
you're right.
he has something bad to say about everybody.
Yeah,
And for him to not just be like, the organization wasn't run well, but they were nice. Like
right.
it's like him going, okay, I'm pulling back. Like nobody hates George the person.
No,
Sure, is he quirky? Does he have weird rules about how ideas how things should be run? Of course. Is he a good football man? Absolutely not.
no, not even close. As
But
bad as it gets.
but and did we make fun of the fact that instead of sending like a limo or a nice town car to pick up Ryan Poles for his interview, he drove and picked the man up in his Toyota Corolla or whatever he drives? Like that's like Midwest nice. Like he really looks at this as like, hey, like this guy is part of our family. We're gonna treat him as such. Like that's a genuinely nice thing, even though it's weird in the context of, I mean, of the NFL. That's
It,
weird.
it's not as bad as making interview coaches fly coach. That to me is worse than picking him up in his car.
But is the guy a bad guy? No, not at all. Just weird and maybe not bright.
Picking up Ryan Poles, he says that it's whatever car it is. I still think it was his mom's old jalopy. Awooga!
Awooga.
Every time you turn it on, you just hear just the and
He's
all the
like, this
smoke
is
coming out.
mother's car. Hold on a second. I got to put the pliers over there to open the window.
And then there's a big crank out in front, and he's cranking. He just takes out the rusty crank, sticks it in, crank, 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 crank.
He's got the battery warmer plug hanging out of the front of his car, and it's like, what is that? Oh, that when it gets cold, so my battery doesn't die. Don't you park inside? No. He's like, we don't have a garage.
The Hallis Hall parking lot is uncovered.
It's like, this car is my mother's, and I would never get rid of it, but that when she dies, I'm gonna paint it purple.
There's a lollipop stuck to the freaking seat.
He's got a lollipop dispenser. It looks like a toothpick dispenser. He pushes a little button and a lollipop drops out. He goes, they're all purple.
Honestly, that would be kind of dope to have in my car, a lollipop dispenser.
Oh, God. Georgie Porgy. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. I want to thank everybody so much for listening. Please hit subscribe however you listen to podcasts, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Google Play, Spotify, etc. Share this podcast with your friends. It's how we grow the show. Follow us on social media at Swerski Sports, Facebook.com/Swerski Sports, SwerskiSports.com, or Swerski_sports_podcast on Instagram, ShyFanPat2 for Alex on Twitter/X, or AlexanderJPatCreative.com for all the cool stuff that Alex does. And again, thank you so much for listening. And until next time, bear down.
Cubs win! What a lucky break! The good Lord wants the Cubs to win!
We think Ditka and God for all they have provided.
Cubs win! Cubs win! Cubs win!
Oh, I don't want her. You can have her. She's a Packer fan. She can't fit in my van.
And she looks like number New Yorkers. Smoking crack is not legal on planes.
Bears 31 to -7.
The Bears.
Oh, when the Bears go bearing down